So, completely unscripted, I just want to talk quickly about why I think it is fundamentally untrue to call Rey a Mary Sue or overpowered. I think it's a misunderstanding of the Star Wars lore, the mythical framing of Star Wars, how everything has worked in the past, and I think it's doing a disservice to not just the sequels, but to all that has come before. Now, my reason for that is the other characters. So let's go chronologically. We'll start with Star Wars. Luke Skywalker, in his first movie, he is a young farm boy, unprepared, but he's eager. And he doesn't know anything about life because he lives in the ass end of nowhere on Tatooine. And so with this frame, he joins Obi-Wan and, he survives the inside of the Death Star, shooting a bunch of stormtroopers. He mans a turret and then flies the T-65B X-Wing, which is a high-end military-grade starfighter. And this is not a criticism. I do not want anyone to think it's a criticism. And yes, the in-universe reason is the controls are very similar to Incom's other popular ship, the T-16. I personally don't care about that explanation. I don't think it matters. I don't think it was even something that needed explaining, quite frankly. Like, Luke is just good. It's enough for me. But whatever. He saves the day thanks to his attunement with the Force. Luke, one of his character traits is that he's a little bit stubborn. He doesn't always believe. And during the end of the trench run, he hears Ben in his head. And he's like, I need to believe. He opens his mind, and that's how he manages to get the proton torpedoes down the shaft. All of that is perfect, right? People have criticized him in the past of saying, oh, it's too wishy-washy, it's a power fulfillment fantasy, whatever. I couldn't care less. It's mystic storytelling. It works. Plus, we know very well that the average person in Star Wars isn't like that. The average person is like Andor. They struggle a little more. And you need both. Then you got Anakin. So in his first movie, in Phantom Menace, he wins a pod race, something he claims he is the only human who can do it. He's relatively young, around the age of 9, if I recall correctly. And he does so with a massive disadvantage. He takes to the skies with an N1 and destroys a Trade Federation control ship in a way that all the other experienced pilots couldn't do. And again, all of that is perfectly fine. It makes him exceptional. It makes him arguably one of the most powerful force wielders in the universe. But again, the framing here isn't meant to be, it's the fact that he becomes Vader later that is meant to be the point to how exceptional he is. Then you got Rey. In her first movie, she's shown to be a hopeful, open-minded person who lives on Jakku, a desolate wasteland where she is forced to fight to survive. Therefore, she uses a quarterstaff. Historically speaking, by the way, a lot of women who trained in self-defense would start with a quarterstaff before going to train how to use a sword, because it's more important to know how to distribute weight and bash someone in the head to stop them from bashing you in the head or slicing you in the head than it is to master a sword. Anyway, so that's the logic there. Anyway, that doesn't matter, but it's just an interesting factoid. She flies a Falcon. She's flown before. She flies it in atmosphere, and she's overwhelmed. She sweats. She shouts. She's clearly overwhelmed. It is actually the most overwhelmed we have seen a main protagonist in Star Wars. I'm only counting the movies here, by the way. Then she kills 2 stormtroopers. She misses the first shot and looks kind of shaken, and then has a duel with Kylo Ren. The duel is intense, messy, not really flashy, very aggressive. But the thing is, Kylo Ren has a huge disadvantage. He just killed his dad. He thought that would liberate him, given the clarity that his so beloved Vader had. But it didn't. It tore him in half. It ruined his focus. It made him, he regretted it, right? That's why he's so fascinating. And also, he was shot in the gut with a bowcaster. I've never been shot in the gut with a bowcaster, but I presume that hurts. And so he's bleeding out. Imagine you're bleeding out. You just killed your dad that you secretly really loved. I mean, because he's Han Solo, he's the coolest guy in the universe. And then you have to fight this this random person you've never met, you're going to be enraged. And then you realize you've got a connection. Like, oh, wait, yeah. So all these conflicting ideas going on in his head. And she seizes that advantage and barely, by the skin of her teeth, wins that one duel. That's not being overpowered. It's literally just good writing. She's such a well-rounded character. She's so fascinating. She's emotionally vulnerable. She has this authenticness to her that I just find so interesting. And that's fundamentally the core issue here, is that everything she does is earned. Everything.